again to this mini-series that we have, which is I Am Allowed, and this is with Games Dev London, and it's all about audio in games, and I'm your host today, Lorraine Ansell, and today we have Alyx Jones, who is currently dialogue editor at Liquid Violet, and is also a games music composer. She has worked on her own games and is head writer at The Sound Architect, which covers games events like the game's BAFTAs, and she has also been a juror on the audio panel, and working on audio for projects such as Borderlands 3 Lost Words, which is a great game, by the way, and is with us today. Thank you, Alyx, for joining us. How are you?
Fairness, with Lost Words, that was mostly the dog.
Oh. we encourage all pets are welcome to the chat.
Well, every studio needs a dog to do all the post-production work anyway, so...
Absolutely. I encourage, dogs, cats, I don't know, whatever.
Whatever you can get, really.
Whatever you can get your hands on. So, yes, thank you for coming along today. So, just tell us a bit about yourself, firstly. What's your experience been? How did you start in audio?
How did I start in audio? Well, that feels like a long time ago now, maybe. But it's probably not that long. I guess I did like a long time in university. And the first time I got into audio properly was studying music technology at A-level. Well, that was when it kind of occurred to me that it was a job, I suppose, because we went to Abbey Road and it was like very, very cool experience for a young person to like be stood amongst the greats and be able to record and play guitar in Abbey Road. So yeah, that was like super, super cool.
Did you play guitar in the actual Abbey Road?
Yeah. Got recorded by the engineer who did like the Lord of the Rings soundtracks. So it's a bit of a moment to be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, no way, that's amazing. Oh.
Yeah, I was kind of like, at that point, I was like, at some point in my career, in my life, I will be here again. Whatever like happens to get there, it's just a magical place, really.
Oh wow, that is amazing. Oh, so basically that kind of planted a massive seed, and you thought, right, games audio, yes.
Yeah, like I always liked music, and it was always an escape and an outlet, as it is for so many people. And games are the same. Like playing games is a bit of escapism if you've got whatever difficulties in your life, or even if it's just a bit of fun and a way to connect with other people. And when you marry those two things together, at some point in your mind, you're like, oh, those things go together, and someone has those jobs to be able to produce those things, like games, music, audio, whatever it may be, to like deliver that to people and give them those experiences. And so when you're at school and you do like those careers questions, you kind of come up with like doctor, writer, those, like there's nothing interesting that's even anything like more than like about 5 jobs in the world that you could possibly have, and it's not relevant anymore to the world that we live in. So I can't even remember what I got, probably musician and writer or something like that, which is, I guess, relatively accurate because I do those things. But in terms of the actual career path and how to find the specific job that was for me, it's kind of nowhere near that.
Excellent. Yeah. I think I got accountant and actor, so make of that what you will.
I mean, you have to do your tax returns, right?
Right, exactly. So then after the A-levels and that amazing experience at Abbey Road, then what did you do at university then?
Yeah, I studied creative music technology at Surrey University, and because that's in Guildford, I found out that the area was inhabited by a lot of games companies.
Absolutely, it is the games Hollywood, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they say. A little bit less glamorous or more glamorous, I don't know. You have to come down and see.
Slightly less glamorous, more cobbled streets, but Yeah, I think that then led to me engaging with the local community and going to game jams and meeting people. And I think the first place I went was maybe Rocket Desk, which is a co-working space in Guildford for game devs generally, and they hosted one of the game jams. It must have been Global Game Jam.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah.
But then I started going to more and more things and meeting more and more people, and then we started our own game audio meetup and whatever. When I was a student, I realised how important networking was to that career. So I was like, don't really know how to do this, but I'm just going to keep meeting people and keep trying, go to London as much as possible. It's where everyone is, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's the trick, isn't it? It's really just meeting people and just hanging out, I suppose, networking.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're younger, you're like, I don't know how to make business contacts or how should I approach that situation at all. And it's like, now I'm just like hanging out with people and chilling. Like it's not even, there's no agenda to it, but I think it's difficult to learn what that means when you're young, because
Yeah.
people say networking and it's like, okay, so I need a network of people, but what does that mean? It's really just like make friends with people and get to know them, really.
I suppose it's like a grown-up way of making friends, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's true, it's true, and yeah, many a good time has been had down in Guildford, but yeah, at the moment we're all at home, so
Yeah, it's
no
strange
no
not
events.
seeing people for so long.
Absolutely, and yeah, and then after you worked there, you did quite a lot, because you were also the lead writer on Sound Architect as well, aren't you? Can you tell us a bit
Yeah,
about
I
that?
met Sam at an event called Game Music Connect, which is in London. And that was one of the first things I ever went to as a student, because I think I just finished my first year at university. So I was 18, 19, something like that. So kind of a baby at the time. So a lot of people who were at the event were like proper adults, not just teenagers. But I think me, Sam, and Andy, who was the other guy who was started out as the sort of core team, apart from Sam founding it, stayed at the pub Azuro near Waterloo till it shut. And we were speaking about that for ages. And then Sam was like, well, should we just like write stuff and do some more stuff? Why don't you come do things? And I was like, sure, why not? I'm a student, like got less going on than someone with a job. So got time to do that kind of thing. And you get free games to review. So it was a win-win.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, but it got me to even more events than I would have been able to go to anyway, to do like event coverage and stuff. So it was even helpful for networking beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think what that's kind of shown is that you've really invested a lot of passion into the industry, and you've actually taken the time to research and find out about the people, because you've interviewed some amazing high profile names, haven't you?
There's lots of cool people. Jessica Curry's always my favourite.
Absolutely, she's fantastic. I just love her stuff, and you've got to meet her a few times.
Yeah, and like I think we just bump into each other everywhere. And actually, she was at Game Music Connect, that first very event that I went to, and we came out of the toilet stalls at the same time. And she was like, "Oh, it's like Charlie's Angels," and I'm like, "It's Jessica Curry."
Oh my god, that's
I was
brilliant! I
just
just have
like,
now visions of everyone like standing around going like this. In some
they're really bizarre toilets because they're really really long and there's mirrors all up the walls. So as soon as you come out, you can kind of see everyone else that's coming out at the same time.
so it's like,
Yeah, filmic.
oh my god, that's a great Instagram place, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and so what have you been doing lately? Where are you working now?
I'm at Liquid Violet now, and I've been there 2 years and a half ish, kind of something like that. I think I
Okay.
started freelance on Valentine's Day two
Oh,
years ago, which was a really funny coincidence. But
it's
I
true
made
love.
I made little cookies that were like in an 8-bit kind of pixel shape to cut on my first day. So then I got a reputation as a baker, and I'm really not a baker.
Oh
I
no.
set a standard I could not uphold, but I tried. I bought brownies one time after.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And for people who don't know, what is Liquid Violent? What do they do?
Yeah, Liquid Violet is a voiceover production studio. So we have 2 studios on site where we record dialogue for games, and then we have our own post production team, and we also do our own casting and everything around basically recording voices for games. So we do a lot of recording within the studios for stuff like Overwatch and work with Blizzard and Riot and all that kind of stuff, but also localization, which is what I did on Borderlands when I first started. So they're recorded in external studios in France, Germany, Spain, Italy, whatever it may be, and then we do post production on that and give them back.
Wow, that sounds really quite exciting. And so, how does it work? What's a day to day? Well, okay, let's talk pre-pandemic. What was your day
Yeah.
to day going in, and kind of what was the normal day?
Yeah, well, I travel in on the train with Loki, so he used to come in every day with me, and then he gets to work checking out the studio and seeing what voice actors we've got in that day. But yeah, it changes quite a lot depending on whether you're prepping for a project or whether there's something already going. Um, so I sometimes do script supervision there just because I'm around and I can do that. So that's quite cool. I get to because it's such a small team, everyone wears a lot of hats and does lots of different jobs. So I never do just like purely post production. Like even now I'm involved with like organizing things and preparing things, doing pre-production, and then when it's all recorded, I'll do post-production. So I kind of sit in each stage a little bit at the moment. But I did recently get promoted to post-production coordinator,
Yay!
which is
Woohoo!
kind of still doing my dialogue editing, because you never want to be completely hands off the kind of thing that you're actually doing. So that's really fun, but it's nice to be more involved in all of that side of things.
Yeah, congratulations. That's brilliant. So what does that mean, for you now? What's the work? What's the process?
Yeah, so a lot of it, because we've got so much work on, it's managing to organise like a pool of freelancers that we work with and making sure that they're happy with their work as well, and helping them train up a little bit, which is really lovely to be able to help people kind of improve themselves. And then I'm always trying to improve myself as well, because there's a lot of stages that we always change the bar for what we're doing, because we're always looking to improve things. But it's basically just making sure that we have enough time to do projects when they hit, and making sure post-production has good budgets or good time allocated, because we're always at the end of the chain. So if things get delayed in the studio, then everything will need to get pushed in post to make it happen for the right deadline. Or perhaps they may be flexible with their deadlines.
Who knows? But that's true. Often audio is really towards the tail end of the process. So it is kind of, it does bring everything together, but at the same time, it can be like a bit of a rush job, because it's like, we've got to get it out. So,
Yeah, and COVID's impacted on that a lot as well.
How's that happened? What's
yeah,
the
like
impact of it?
Originally we basically went fully remote to start with, and we're like, how can we make this work? And so, but the problem with that, or not the problem, but the challenge of it, is that if you're doing lots of remote recordings, it needs like double the post-production time. If you're pulling selects in a session remotely, then you have to take the actor's local audio and line that up. So even you basically have to go through the entire session and find the right takes that the director wanted, and then do the post on it. And then there's more cleanup, because it's their room rather than a sound treated studio. So for most people, it's not as good quality. There's noise, you might have a fridge or a dog barking or someone mowing the lawn, and that kind of stuff is quite time consuming to clean up.
I mean, that's the great thing about being in studio, like, from where you are based up in London, because you have that, consistency. Everyone comes in, you're going to get a certain type of sound, and you can clean it up quite quickly. It's great because in a way you've got more access to more actors, and it's more flexible in terms of perhaps timing. But there's also, upside and downsides of that, isn't there?